what life was like before the shift that I would call awakening was that I felt, anxiety would be a word for it, but it was very pervasive. It was something like the way I was perceiving myself was really, really uncomfortable. The way I was perceiving life through the lens of perceiving myself was really, really uncomfortable. And I knew it had to do with thoughts. Like thoughts were very uncomfortable for me. And I didn't fully understand why. I kind of intuited to some degree that there was something uncomfortable about being bound into thoughts or like being pushed around by my own thoughts or something. And I noticed that even in childhood, but as I grew into like young adulthood, it was really intense. So I just had this very intense internal experience that something's wrong. You know, there were times when I thought something was wrong with me. There were times when I thought something was like wrong with my brain or maybe my mind or even just reality. Like there was something about being a human that was just inherently uncomfortable. I wasn't sure, but it didn't feel good. And nothing that I came across gave me the sense that, oh, that can help. The more I came across, the more I felt like the ways that people usually talk about getting better, feeling better, etc., kind of felt like more of the same to me. It felt like more of the same problem somehow. And I can say this clearly in retrospect. At the time, I don't know if I would have been able to articulate it like that, but there was just this sense of hopelessness, like nothing's going to work. Nothing's going to work. So when I talk to people who feel like chronically sort of disempowered and just chronically like just not happy with life, not feeling good about themselves, not feeling they have a way of getting out of it, like I completely relate to that. The thing in retrospect is I thought it was something about me, but it wasn't really about me. It was something about the way I was perceiving me. So for me, ultimately what happened was I started to really look closely at my thoughts and the way I was identifying with my thoughts in a specific way. And what that resulted in was this very clear shift in identity. It was a very clear shift in what I took myself to be. That wasn't a way of changing my mind. It wasn't a way of seeing the world differently or something. It wasn't a paradigm shift. It was something fundamental that like changed. And it didn't suddenly make me say, oh, I'm happy all the time, or like, oh, I used to think I was a helpless person and now I feel like I'm a great person. It wasn't anything like that. It wasn't a shift in the way I saw myself even. It was a shift in the way I experienced myself. And actually turns out a shift in the way I experienced everything, the way I experienced like being alive, the world around me. And what came with that shift was a big release, like a big feeling of a big weight that I had been carrying and actually had becoming more and more heavy over my life. It was just like released. It was just gone or almost completely gone. And so there's a big sense of relief from a weight that I didn't realize I was carrying, a sense of relief from having to try to like figure out this problem of me, this thought problem. Like I just didn't have to do that. It was obvious that in a sense was the problem, or it was part of it. So it was just a release into a kind of like ease, a simple ease of just being alive. It's totally okay to be alive. There's really no fundamental problems. And it was very obvious. So that's what I would call awakening. That was how I experienced it. Yeah. Maybe one of the biggest parts of the relief is that turns out there was nothing wrong with me at all. But there was something in a sense wrong with the way I was focusing my attention. It was like there was something I was doing without realizing it. And it was totally innocent. I was trying to solve the problem of me, but I was focusing my attention into thoughts in a really almost obsessive way without realizing I was doing it. So there was something about the focus that was off, but the actual sense of me that opened up after that, or the sense of just aliveness being, was like such a relief. Like, oh, there's really no big personal problem like I thought there was. That was huge. Yeah.